Maysa Murrar. I'm a Palestinian, the children of immigrants. I am from a village called Beit Dukko, north of Jerusalem. I'm honored to be here with you all and to walk beside you today and every day for the past 15 months. We have all endured the worst atrocities to human civilization in our lifetimes, with no end in sight. Today, we as healthcare workers, laborers, the working class, and people of conscience are unwell due to the emotional and physical toll from witnessing the ongoing genocide in Gaza, which is why we have chosen to call out sick today. We are gathered here to say that we need to take a sick day off, as it has been overwhelming witnessing the ongoing genocide and knowing that our tax dollars are funding such atrocities. We worry that our healthcare systems continue to invest in the genocide in Gaza, repress us, remain silent, or turn a blind eye while we continue to live in this draconian state whose only objective is to break us down and erase us. It has now been over 10 days since the attack on Kamel Adwan Hospital, where Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya was beaten, tortured, and is abducted. Prior to his attack and his abduction, Dr. Abu Safiya was bravely warning us for 3 months of the imminent danger on Kamel Adwan Hospital. Every day he was sending us updates about what was happening and the conditions on the ground, to the hospital, to his colleagues, to his patients, the lack of care that he is able to provide for his patients. We found out today that lawyers are not being allowed to see him. We found out that they are not allowed to assess his condition or the status of his detention until January 10th. Shame. And even then, there's no guarantee that we will have any news about Dr. Abu Safiya or any of the healthcare workers that have been abducted or are held in prisons. We stand here today to demand his freedom and the freedom of all healthcare workers and Palestinian political prisoners from the jails of Israeli prisons, and to stop the attacks on our healthcare systems and our people of Gaza. We are hoping, with the last shred of hope that we have in our hearts, that we will cause a ripple effect for the whole world to rise. Healthcare workers in the United States are joining together in 9 different cities. In Boston, Detroit, Manhattan, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, New Haven, Portland, Stanford, Davis, San Diego was just announced today. In addition to a few virtual meetings with Doctors Against Genocide and Ottawa. Genocide is an assault on our neurobiology. This is a quote by Dr. Asifa Qadar. It is an assault on our neurobiology because witnessing this amount of destruction is not normal. We are not meant to bear witness to all this pain and destruction and the constant loop of killing. We are not meant to see babies buried under rubble. We are not meant to see blood splattered everywhere. We are not meant to see healthcare workers as targets, tortured and killed. Orphan children, childless mothers, lost fathers, which is why we are sick of genocide. We are sick of this ongoing genocide. Just this morning, I woke up feeling nauseous And I was talking to people and they were telling me they feel nauseous too. And this is a real effect on our biology, on our physical bodies, on our mental health, which is why we are standing as healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, PAs, nurse practitioners, respiratory therapists, all workers of the healthcare system to say this is enough. We have a really beautiful program for you all today. And just before we start, I wanted to share that, you know, a lot of us here have been able to communicate with people in Gaza. We have patients coming all the time. We're trying to look for ways to provide care for a lot of the people that are able to come through different organizations, through private people, like through HEAL or PCRF or and anything that we can. And so we are building a network of people, of providers that can provide care, whether that's community care and support, people that can provide specialty care for people that are coming from Gaza. And so if you are ever willing or able to offer your services, please come find us, because we are gathering this network of people as more and more people and children are coming. This month alone, I know of about 3 to 4 children coming. And so we will need all hands on deck to help these people. So, without further ado, I'm going to start with our program here. I would like to introduce our first speaker. Iman is a respiratory therapist at San Leandro Hospital and St. Francis Memorial Hospital. She is sick of the violence from our healthcare institutions about hospitals and healthcare workers being targets. Please welcome Iman.
Hello, everyone. In September and October of this past year, I traveled to Cairo, Egypt to work with 2 organizations, Lifeblood Foundation and Slice of Hope, where tens of thousands of Palestinians have fled the genocide. They are unable to secure work. Many of the young people were in the middle of their schooling when the genocide began. They are studying to become doctors, dentists, pharmacists, engineers, and teachers. These young people are unable to complete their studies and serve in their communities. Most of them have lost parents and siblings, or they have families suffering the horrible conditions, worried if they will ever see them again. Because they know they are living in tents in bitter rain and cold, or extreme heat and no water. There is also constant bombing and killing and targeting. Even with all of this, they have chosen to volunteer and help their Palestinian communities in Egypt. And although the people of Egypt have welcomed the Palestinians, the establishments and the government make survival very hard for them. Finding work is nearly impossible. Getting driver license and documents, setting up banking, or sending money to family in Gaza is very, very difficult. I am constantly humbled by their determination and their gratitude. When I ask them what message they want me to bring back to everyone here in America, the response is, tell them we want to live our lives. Tell them we want to go home. This is the population that Israel is conducting a genocide on, with the funding of the US government, with our tax dollars. While here in America, we are unable to fund our own healthcare system. We discharge our patients only to clock out and still find them living on the street, mentally and physically sick. The silence of our healthcare institutions, while Israel is targeting hospitals, ambulances, doctors, medics, and patients still hooked to IV poles, is what makes me sick. Israel is setting a precedent for all future warfare. Israel, and anyone who supports Israel, is teaching the world that if one wants to effectively take out a population, target the healthcare system, kill, kidnap, torture, and sodomize their doctors to death, leave premature babies to die in their incubators, and bomb children while they gather at vaccination clinics. Shame. They are normalizing this as part of warfare. They are setting up every healthcare system in the world to be a target. History has taught us that what Israel does to the Palestinian people becomes common practice on other populations. This is why our healthcare institutions here in the United States need to speak up now. Thank you.
Thank you, Iman. I think she makes a lot of really great points about the normalization of warfare and repression that our societies are facing, not just overseas, but also here in the belly of the beast, as more and more of us will continue to live in a militarized and repressive state. So next up, we have Jude. Jude is a RN and works here at the SF General in MedSurg. They are part of Healthcare Workers for Palestine. It is my pleasure to introduce Jude to speak to you next. Welcome, Jude.
Hi, everyone. I'm here in solidarity with you all, especially with our Palestinian colleagues in Gaza. I was thinking as I was preparing, my thoughts and getting them together, this quote that often comes to mind and came to mind when I think about how sick we are from genocide and how sick it makes our patients and our communities. It's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. I feel that our sickness and the way we feel, this rage that boils inside, our hearts that are burning, the tears behind our eyes, the ways we engage our patients, that keeps us unadjusted to this mess, right? That keeps us in solidarity with each other and in unity. And I really feel thankful that we're all here together and that we're fighting and we refuse to be silent. We refuse to be silent and complicit. We want to continue to stand up to the institutions like this one that has said nothing, absolutely nothing, which is shameful. Shame! I was asked specifically to put together some thoughts about, the attacks on ambulances, the attacks on the healthcare system, the attacks on EMS services and how vital they are. We know, we've heard the stories, we've seen the images, and I think at this point as healthcare workers, it's really important that we continue to make connections, right? From here to Gaza and everywhere else throughout the world that imperialism and empire touches, destroys intentionally, right? The violence and the intentional violence is the point. Two people came to mind when I was thinking about trying to make those connections. I thought about Oscar Grant and I thought about Hind Rajab. On January 1st, 2009, Oscar Grant was racially profiled, targeted, and murdered on the platform of the Fruitvale BART station. So much about that day and that time is really important for us to focus on. The thing that came to mind when I was thinking about it yesterday was how long it took OPD to call an ambulance to provide life-saving services. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Plus the time it took for the ambulance to arrive. 20 minutes. We know that system is the same system, the racist, white supremacist, imperialist, violent system that refused to call an ambulance is the same system that's targeting ambulance drivers in Gaza, that is reducing hospitals to rubble, that's targeting healthcare workers. The violence is the point. Taking away the ability to save and care is the point, right? That's what we fight against, that's what we're raging against, that's what we're sick of, right? I think about how marginalized communities here in the Bay, how long it takes an ambulance to arrive in those communities, those racially profiled, surveilled communities, where cops create situations where they tell EMTs that it's not safe to enter. That is racist, right? It's important to connect that here and abroad. I think about the West Bank and how we see images of parents carrying their injured children through a line of IOF, the Zionist entity that's blocking ambulances from anyone getting in to be cared for and saved. It's the same system, right? Shame. Shame. I think about Hind Rajab. My 6-year-old is here. He's not outside right now, but he's inside. That little girl, that baby, in that car. I think about the healthcare workers who went to save her, the ambulance drivers, how much of a block it was to even get those ambulance drivers to be able to send, support and try and find her and rescue her, and how they were targeted directly. The same violence. We know that the money, last week I discharged a patient to the street. That happens all the time. He had to go to his car, which is where he lives. He had severe wounds from his knees to his feet. There was no place for him to go. We know that the money it takes to maintain 800 military bases throughout the world directly affects my patient who I sent to his car, right? That's the connection we need to continue to make. What more can everyone say? There's so much that's been said. I think we need to continue to shout loudly those connections wherever we can. A nurse froze to death in his tent on December 27th. His name was Ahmad. Youssef was one of the ambulance drivers that went to rescue Hind. His other colleague was named Ahmed. The connections are broad. We know what they are. I just wanted to say to end this that, on the back of these shirts, there's a saying that we will remain. At one of the hospitals last year, I believe, doctors and healthcare workers gathered in a courtyard, and they sang a song essentially with the words, "We will remain" within it. They refused to leave their patients. We refuse to be silent. I just wanted to say a name of a healthcare worker, and what I would love for you to say back is, "We will remain. We will remain. We will remain steadfast. We will refuse to be silent. We will remain in this fight. We will never forget our colleagues. We will fight for those that are alive." Youssef Zaino.
We will remain.
Ahmed Maladhoun.
We will remain.
Dr. Haman Alo.
We will remain.
Nurse Ahmad Al-Zaharna.
We will remain.
Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh.
We will remain.
Dr. Hussam Abu Safia.
We will remain.
Thank you.
Stop the killing, stop the crimes!
Stop the killing, stop the crime.
Israel out of Palestine!
Israel out of Palestine.
Stop the killing, stop the crimes!
Stop the killing, stop the crime.
Israel out of Palestine!
Israel out of Palestine.
I think that Jude makes some really great points in that we have to keep making these connections, not just for ourselves, but for our patients and for all the people here, because people will keep asking, why should I care about something that's happening over there? Well, what we need to tell them is, because what's happening over there is affecting you here. You are not able to get adequate health care because billions of dollars is going to bomb and destroy whole communities. You cannot get your medications because people in Israel have full health care. You cannot get any of your procedures because people in Israel are killing our people. So we need to keep making those connections for our patients here, for other healthcare workers, so that we can continue to rise. Next up we have Kamil. Kamil is a medical student and is a member of Students for Justice in Palestine at UCSF. Please welcome Kamil.
Thank you all so much. This is so touching to see so many people out here today. My name is Kamil. I'm a medical student and member of Students for Justice in Palestine at UCSF. I'm a Lebanese American. And like you all in the crowd, I'm sick. I'm sick witnessing a genocide. I'm sick of US policing here, across the globe, in Haiti. I'm sickened by the US's deep history of imperial violence. But today, I want to speak a bit about Lebanon. Imbued with a millennia of history, it's a beautiful country. Imagine Roman and Phoenician ruins dotting the landscape, filled with olives and orange trees. Mountains that drop off directly into beaches on the Mediterranean. A people that are generous, courageous, shaken but unwavered by another Israeli invasion. But these invasions do not come without cost. As within 1982 and in 2006, the invasion at the end of last year was rife with war crimes committed against the Lebanese people by the Israeli occupation. Thank you. thousands of innocent people injured or killed, hundreds of attacks on healthcare, resulting in death and destruction, a nauseating similarity to what we bear witness to in Palestine. Like much of northern Lebanon, the city of Tripoli, where my family is from, was inundated by over 1 million internally displaced people seeking shelter from Israeli attacks. Thank you. As Black poet June Jordan put in their 1982 poem entitled Apologies to All the People in Lebanon, quote, "They called your apartments and gardens guerrilla strongholds. They called the screaming devastation that they created the rubble. Then they told you to leave, didn't they? Ellipsis. And why didn't you take the hint? Go! There was the Mediterranean. You could walk into the water and stay there. What was the problem?" End quote. Yes, we are sick. How are we supposed to feel when we planned lectures for our classmates about the health impacts of war and colonialism? The School of Medicine canceled them. Every time we open an email about Palestine from UCSF leadership, we are met with scorn and apathy. We watch as the U.S. Senate commits billions of dollars to weapons, knowing how desperately our healthcare system needs this funding. Once more, I'm so grateful for you all today. I only can imagine that the remedy to our sickness will be collective liberation, and I am deeply grateful to stand amongst the crowd that is committed to this endeavor with me. Thank you very much.
No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace! U.S. out of the Middle East!
U.S. out of the Middle East.
Long live Lebanon!
Long live Lebanon.
Long live Gaza!
Long live Gaza.
Thank you, Kamel. You know, as he said so beautifully, is that, you know, all of our whole region is affected right now. Our whole region, from Lebanon to Iraq to Syria to Yemen. We are not just fighting as Palestinians, we are fighting as people of the world. Next up, I have the pleasure of introducing a very dear friend. Her name is Rosita. She is an organizer. Give her some. Yeah. If you don't know Rosita, are you organizing? No. Rosita is an organizer, activist, union organizer who has continued to heed the call from her ancestors to fight for liberation of all oppressed people. Rosita is an RN at UCSF and member of Healthcare Workers for Palestine, Bay Area Labor for Palestine, and a CNA nurse. Welcome, Rosita.
Obviously, I'm not as tall as the last two speakers. First, I want to start by acknowledging that in the last 24 hours, Gaza has lost Dr. Fabat Salim, the last neonatologist. So can we please hold that name with the rest of our martyred colleagues? Our ability to resist genocide and counter the harms perpetrated by colonialism is our ethical and moral obligation. As healthcare workers, we are frustrated with the silence of our institutions that dare to make pledges for marginalized communities, yet turn a blind eye to the atrocities that we have watched at hospital after hospital after hospital. Dr. Ghassan Abu Sita, in a recent interview with Democracy Now!, puts the estimated martyred close to 300,000. Let me repeat that. 300,000. Over 1,000 of those are our healthcare colleagues. These medical institutions that create DEI committees and nice little signs and slogans, pretend to combat systemic racism and health equity, are silent on genocide. That while our colleagues are bombed, tortured, kidnapped, and martyred, they are silent. That while I walk into a pristine OR, my patients have anesthesia, they have sterile instruments, they have PrEP, they have dignity. All in contrast of our colleagues in Gaza, who are treating their patients in the absence of anesthesia, in the absence of sterility, and are doing their best to give their patients, their community, dignity and care. All the while, those that have chosen to oppress the Palestinian people are continuing their genocidal project. We collectively gather here today as healthcare workers, as community members, and demand that 450 of our colleagues are released, that Dr. Abu Safia is released. We stand here collectively to demand our institutions cease their investments in genocide, cease their silence of genocide, cease their complicity in ethnic cleansing. And as a generational survivor of genocide, I understand that these lands that these institutions sit on hold the blood and memory of genocidal endeavors and the attempts to eradicate the indigenous people of this land. So while these institutions give land acknowledgements, they ignore the current genocide. For months, we have watched the lack of humanity play out. The complicity of our government and elected officials, as well as the millions of taxpayer funds being used for massive destruction and genocide, must be addressed. We are being forced to be complicit in the slaughter of thousands while we go without having our needs addressed here. From livable working wages to medical coverage to houselessness and mass incarceration, we the people, we are the community. We must care for one another, and our community is also global. There is no more hiding the intentions of the U.S. imperialist agenda. There is no more hiding the colonial endeavors of Israel. We say no more genocide. No more genocide! So again, collectively, as healthcare workers, as community members, as union members, we need to use our collective voice. And we will continue to rise, we will continue to resist, we will continue to advocate for human rights and for an end to genocide. Our collective voice is our power.
The people united will never be defeated.
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 Thank you all so much. It will take all of us. This is a collective effort. This will take all of us on all different fronts. We are on the healthcare worker front, but there's so many other fronts. We have the media. We have our educators. We have our everyday workers. We have every fabric of our society where Zionism is entrenched to tackle. We need to break it down wherever we are. Next up, I will be introducing Sara. Oh my God. Sara is a hematology. Hello. Sara, is it working? Okay. Sara is a hematology oncology pharmacist at UCSF. She is a Palestinian organizer and a member of the Palestinian Youth Movement, which is my first political home. And I'm so glad to welcome Sara, who's a fierce and ferocious organizer.
Hi everyone, my name is Sara. I'm really happy to see this many people out. I remember the very first protest we did in front of UCSF a week after October 7th, and it makes me happy that every time I show up, there's more and more people every time, so I really appreciate you. I'm here as a Palestinian, but I'm also here as a healthcare worker who took an oath to preserve life, to do no harm, and to advocate for those whose voices are silenced. I've been organizing for as long as I can remember because we know that this genocide did not start on October 7th. It started decades ago. And as everyone before me has stated, we know that the healthcare infrastructure in Gaza has completely collapsed. We know that killing doctors, killing nurses, and hospital staff is not collateral damage. It's a calculated effort to destroy any and all infrastructure that keeps life going. Shame. I'm specialized in hematology, oncology, or cancer, and in Palestine, cancer is a death sentence because Palestinians are systematically denied access to life-saving treatment like radiation, chemotherapy, and surgery. In Gaza, shame. Shame. In Gaza, chemotherapy and radiation are rarely ever available because of the illegal Israeli blockade. And so the way that they get access to these treatments is they have to apply for permits to go to Jerusalem and get care from Israeli doctors. And a lot of the times, actually, Israeli doctors are not willing to treat Palestinian patients. Shame. And so what does this mean? This means that Palestinians are dying at an unprecedented rate when it comes to cancer. Shame. Shame. Meanwhile, here in the US, we have a failing healthcare system. We live in a country that tells us we have no money for healthcare, no money for education, no money for housing, no money for our necessary prescriptions, and limited mental health care services, and rising homelessness, but we have money for genocide. Shame. Shame. And at the same time, Israeli citizens get to live a blissful life under universal health care. Shame. All of it subsidized by our billions of dollars of US taxpayer money, the same funds that go to subsidize and fund their free health care guarantees the killing of Palestinians, hospitals, doctors, and ensuring that there's no healthcare infrastructure in Gaza. I say this every time I speak, and I'm going to say it again. When we study history, we always wonder, how are these things allowed to go on for so long? How is it that previous genocides went on for years and years and years? And we are in one of those moments. We are in a moment where we need to be politicizing our coworkers, our neighbors, our friends, the people we meet every single day, because we have a moral obligation as humans, and especially as healthcare workers, to speak up against genocide and to demand a better world for all of us. I want to quickly wrap up by talking about the Mask Off MERS campaign. It's an international campaign by the Palestinian youth movement. If you haven't heard of MERS, it's the world's largest shipping company, and they're complicit in shipping military cargo to the Zionist entity, to Israel. The research that we've done has shown that in the last year, they've shipped over $300 million worth of military cargo to the Zionist entity. Shame. And recently, in the last month, with the leadership, actually, of local organizers here in the Bay, they've led an international campaign that helped delay a military cargo shipment from reaching Israel by 2 months. And so what this shows is we, the people, need to act a people's embargo, arms embargo now and forever. And I'll finish by saying that we all demand protection for medical staff, the right to treat patients in a safe environment, an end to the genocide, and an arms embargo now. Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crimes. Thank you.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
No more money for Israel's crimes.
No more money for Israel's crimes.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
No more money for Israel's slaughter.
No more money for Israel's slaughter.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
No more money for Israel's crimes.
No more money for Israel's crimes.
Make some noise, everybody. It's a fire lineup, right? Good. Okay, we have a few more speakers left for you all. I would love to introduce Brenda Barros, who's a part of the 1021 SEIU Labor, and she's a rep for the chapter here at San Francisco General. And she will be accompanied by Akbar Bib, who's on the executive board and running for president, and is a social worker. Welcome.
Hello. I think I'll say what I said last time, and I always speak to my people. And I want to send a message to all the black people that are out there that I don't see supporting this unit. And they should be, because we know what we've been through. It's the same thing as apartheid. There's no different. The killing, the destruction, the dehumanization of everyone. So I really hope that the people and the labor in particular needs to stand up. I don't see labor standing up the way they should be standing up. There's no way labor should stay out of this. So all this staying behind the scenes, being afraid to speak up needs to stop within labor. 1021 has stepped up. We have stepped up. We have been harassed also for speaking up, but it's something we have to do. It's something we cannot not speak up. So everybody needs to speak up about this. Everybody should be talking about this. Everybody should be talking to their communities about this. We need to connect the dots for everybody else out there so that they understand that this issue is their issue. It's all of our issues. If we want to live in a world with peace and stop all this killing and stop all this destruction, then we all have to come together to make that happen. So I'll pass it on to Akbar now.
How you guys doing? This is obviously a really tough day. A little bit about me. In 2022, I had twin sons, Alexander and Jackson. I lost my son Jackson. He was both of them were micropreemies. So they were born since I'm talking to doctors, I know y'all know what I'm talking about. They were born at 24 weeks. And, you know, I mean, my eyes right now, they're tearing up, not just for my loss, but the loss of the babies and the mothers and the families that are being broken and torn apart, the doctors that are trying to save these babies. When they spoke on the neonatal doctor that was, that was murdered, it really touched me because I do have a surviving twin, Alexander, but I couldn't imagine them doing everything that they did to try to save my children and not be able to save the children. I don't know if this is working. All right, cool. So to save the children that were lost. So for me, not just that I am on the board of SEIU and I am a vice president, not just that labor is standing in this fight, I'm standing in this fight, my family's standing in this fight, and others like me that I talk to are standing in this fight. And for me, no justice, no peace. We gotta free Palestine. We gotta stop this bombing and any genocide that's happening around the world, right? We talking about the Congo, we talking about Sudan, we talking about anywhere where this is happening. We gotta stand up and stand together. Can y'all raise y'all fist in the air for me? I'm sick and tired of having to be here right now. My son's birthday is January the 8th, right? So this day right now is so powerful for me, right? Because we shouldn't have to be here. I should be at home right now, hugging my son, remembering my son Jackson, not being here and being sick and tired of places like this and other municipalities that aren't standing with us. Others that don't understand what loss is. I don't want to share this loss with no one, right? I shouldn't have to sit with another mother or another family and talk about this. We need to right now make sure that they hear our voices. I don't care that the mic is cutting off. Y'all can hear me loud and clear, right? And so from me to you and from my family and from Jackson in their memory, please understand, we got to stop this genocide. Shame on them. Shame on them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's right. We are sick and tired. We are sick and tired of being out here. We are sick and tired of having to mobilize. We are sick and tired of having to tell our administration what is wrong and what is right. We are sick and tired of having to defend our people. We are sick and tired of having to call out this genocide and being erased and repressed and sidelined and bullied and fired from our jobs. We are sick and tired. I have the pleasure of introducing one of our last speakers, Dr. Jasran Nam, who I've known for a very long time. Dr. Jasran Nam is the president of UCSF Faculty and Staff for Justice in Palestine. He is the founder of Playgrounds for Gaza, and he is a mentor and a beautiful soul, and I'm so honored that he's here today.
Are you all sick of genocide?
Yes!
Are you tired of genocide?
Yes!
Are you sick of this genocide?
Yes!
We're all sick of this genocide. I wake up every morning, like my sister Mesa said, sick to my stomach. Sick to my stomach when I think about the very first time we were standing here at San Francisco General Hospital about a year ago. The same group of us, after they started bombing and destroying and committing the genocide in Gaza, we stood here in solidarity with all of you saying no more killing. It's been over 450 days, non-stop genocide, non-stop killing. And I want to thank you all for standing in solidarity with the Palestinian community, with me, with Mesa, with Sada, with all of us. You've been bearing witness. And when you bear witness to genocide, it makes you sick. There's a moral sickness that we all feel. There's an ethical sickness that we all feel. And the sickness is not just the sickness of seeing the brutal images of babies starving to death, of babies freezing to death. Palestinian babies, 10 Palestinian babies have frozen to death just in the last week. The sickness really comes from the silence from the healthcare institutions that we work with, who want us to be silent, who want us to turn away, who want us to say, who are gaslighting us and saying, what genocide? What's happening? The moral depravity that comes with an institution like UCSF, the failure of the leadership to condemn this violence, to condemn this atrocity, to condemn this genocide, to condemn the attacks on healthcare workers is morally repugnant. That's what makes me sick. It makes me sick that the AMA is turning its back on healthcare workers, physicians, nurses, and healthcare workers in Gaza, in Palestine, who have given their lives to take care of their patients. Shame. Shame. So not only do we have to be morally sick from bearing witness to our community that is dying and being obliterated by the Israeli military, we have to bear witness to being told that we cannot wear seasonal fruit to work. Apparently, seasonal fruit makes people feel unsafe. Oh my goodness. Seeing a piece of watermelon makes you feel unsafe. What does that say about you? What does it say that when we say no to genocide, it makes you feel unsafe. When we say stop killing doctors, stop killing nurses, that it makes you feel unsafe. I think you don't feel unsafe. I think you feel scared and uncomfortable because we're putting the mirror in your face. Because guess what? They want us to be silent. Are we going to be silent?
No!
Are we going to turn away?
No!
Are we going to stop speaking?
No!
We refuse to remain silent. I'm going to wear my watermelon pin loud and proud. We're going to wear our keffiyehs loud and proud. And we're going to say no to genocide loud and proud. Now, we have to be really clear about the intersectionality of what's happening in Palestine and what's happening here. People get in my face every single day. Mesa said it, Sada said it, the other speaker said it. Why should I care about Palestine? Well, because over $50 billion of your tax dollars just in the last year has gone from funding hospitals here and funding healthcare here to sending bombs to Israel to commit a genocide. That's why you should care. When you can't get your medications, that's why you should care. When you can't get access to healthcare, that's why you should care. When people who are unhoused have to die in the streets because they can't get access to care, that's why you should care. So this is not about Palestine. This is about all of us. Rivers of Palestinian blood are flowing for all of us. Because unless Palestine is free, none of us are free. Now the Democrats are so surprised that they lost the election. They're so surprised. They're shocked. Joe Biden is so miffed why people are so upset, right? As has been noted, it looks like 300,000 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed by Israel. Shame. Just this week, in one of his final acts as President of the United States, Joe Biden and Antony Blinken at the State Department decided to send another $8 billion to Israel to commit more war crimes. These individuals are going to go into the dustbin of history as the morally depraved, the ethically depraved, the unconscionable. This genocide would not happen without the full backing and support of the United States. Y'all need to know that when someone comes to you and says, why should we care about Palestine? It's because of that. Because this country, the United States, is supporting, enabling, and covering for the genocide of Palestinians right now. So will you stand in solidarity with me? Yes. Will you stand in solidarity with all Palestinians? Yes. Will you stand in solidarity with all human beings? Yes. Who say no to Palestine? I have a final word to San Francisco General, UCSF. We will not be silent. We will not be silent. We will not be silent. Free Palestine.
A little bit of a surprise ending. I had a member here come up to me and want to offer a poem to you all. And so we will end our program with a poem. And I would like to present Tito, who works at DPH. Tito is a worker, a health advocate, and is a resident and born in the mission, yeah?
Guatemala.
Guatemala, but from the mission.
Peace in the streets, that's all the mothers ever wanted. A peace no government ever granted. Peace in the streets, quiero que cantes, paz en las calles, full of street knowledge. With my Guatemalan mathematical lingo, I'm systematically educating the barrio. I teach, yo black, the Chinese, the gringo, hey Latino, yo Latino. So listen to the audio. Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Naveles, Balata camp. Check out the passport, I got the stamp to prove it. Exactly how did I improve it? It was news to me, this is the news I bring. A settlement means a settler's road. An army gets ready to load. Killing a kid is the ultimate oath. But what did Moses write as a note? Thou shalt not kill. A commandment you couldn't feel. Blood is blood wherever it spills. Your God is not God if he sent you to kill. Be you Muslim, Jew, Christian, you feel? Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Naveles, Balata, check out the passport, I got the stamp to prove it. Exactly how did I improve it? It was news to me. This is the news I bring. A human being is a human being. Some of us have a lot of things. Some of us have barely a thing. What we do starts with what we think. If you're not welcome to somebody's home, why do you insist on creating a house where a home already exists? This is your God, huh? Hell, what did I miss? Peace in the streets, that's all the mothers ever wanted. A peace no government ever granted. Peace in the streets. Quiero que cantes, paz en las calles, full of street knowledge. With my Guatemalan mathematical lingo, I'm systematically educating the barrio. I teach yo black, the Chinese, the gringo, el Latino, yo Latino. So listen to the audio. Peace.
A lot of people might not know, but Israel commits genocide all over the world, and one of those places is in Guatemala. Free! Free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Gaza!
Long live Gaza!
Long live Yemen!
Long live Yemen!
Long live Lebanon!
Long live Lebanon!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
I just want to say that even though these past 15 months have been bloody and gruesome and hard to witness, this is what it looks like when empires fall. This is what it looks like when the tides are shifting. And though it might not look like it, Palestine will be here in the end. We do have a future. Palestine lives inside of every single one of us. So though they try to break our spirits, they try to break our spirits and our pride, we will continue to stand for Palestine and all oppressed peoples of the world. I just want to make note that we have a few petitions to sign. There's a few QR codes over here. One of them is through Doctors Against Genocide, a petition for Dr. Abu Safia, a petition to release all healthcare workers that are held in Israeli prisons. We also have a few campaigns, as mentioned earlier, Mask Off Maersk. Please follow the Palestinian youth movement in joining in on this campaign. We also have a campaign to uplift through Doctors Against Genocide, Not Another Child, Not Another Hospital. And I also wanted to announce that there's another meeting on Wednesday for Alameda Health System. So if you work for the Alameda Health Systems or you live in Alameda County, it's a meeting with the Board of Trustees at Highland Hospital to tell the trustees that we want to divest from war profiteers like Caterpillar and Raytheon and to follow what the Alameda County has already voted for. And this meeting is going to be held on Wednesday at 5 p.m. at the Conference Center on the 3rd floor at the Highland Pavilion. So if you can, please come out for that. Thank you everybody for being here today.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!